course of my career, I've met many people who are struggling in different areas of their life, whether it be in a relationship, issues with parenting, or a personal issue such as depression or low self-esteem. Many people don't have the financial resources or time to devote to going to therapy on a regular basis. In hopes to meet the needs of those people, I created this podcast, Top 5 with Chris Taylor, where you learn the top 5 things that you can do right now to change that difficult situation in your life. Today's episode of Top 5 with Chris Taylor, we're going to focus on the topic of getting kids to follow your directions. How frustrating is it as a parent to have your kid completely defy expectations, not listen to what you're asking, and take their life in a completely different direction? Sometimes it's basic things like take the garbage out. Other times it's go to school and complete your homework. Sometimes, funny enough, it's just getting out of the house. So let's focus right now on the top 5 things you can do to get your kids to follow direction. Number 1, set clear expectations. It seems simple, right? Follow directions, set expectations. Well, how do you know what to follow unless you're very clear on what those expectations are? You have to make sure that you tell your kid exactly what you want them to do, and not in a nagging, demanding way, in just a very calm, direct, assertive way, to let them know that you take this request seriously. Number 2, have clear consequences. We know that even the best laid plans with kids can go to waste. You might give a direction, you hope for compliance, and they don't do it. Well, what do you do when they don't do it? How do you deal with that? Well, you have clear consequences. You let them know if they don't do this, that this is what you are going to do. Number 3, always praise. Oftentimes what we forget to do is praise our kids when they do well. Now I'll ask you, when somebody tells you, job well done, hey, thanks for doing that, really appreciate you, you feel good about yourself, right? When they come to you and say, you didn't do this, you're not good, hey, you're so lazy, all of these messages that are sort of counter to how we want to build our kids up. When kids don't follow directions, that's always where we go. We just sort of name the problem. Well, you are what you eat, right? So if you keep hearing that message, what do you expect long term? I expect that the kids start to sort of believe that, and they'll start to become somewhat of a self-fulfilling prophecy. So take the time, take the courage, praise them when they're doing well, praise them for little things. Make sure that no thing goes unnoticed. Over time, you'll have to do it less, but you'll find that naturally you're doing it more. The 4th thing that we can do is incentivize their entitlements. Now, what I mean by that is you have a kid that thinks because they have a video game system that they're entitled to play that video game system whenever they want. Well, what if you took that video game system and they can only get that video game system when they do as you ask? Now, the more they do as you ask, the less you have to take it, and the more access they have to it, the more enjoyment they have from it, and ultimately, the more they see the value in doing what you ask. Find those things that your kids care a lot about. Is it social media? Is it their Facebook account? Is it computer access? Is it video game access? Some things you want to shy away from doing are things that are sort of the healthy outlets, right? Playing sports, involved in extracurricular activities, those things that we know sort of build self-esteem over time shouldn't be incentivized. They don't necessarily feel entitled to those in a way that they do their belongings or their possessions. So just be cautious on that as you start to implement this practice. And number 5, be consistent. I referenced this earlier. It's so important. Kids want to know where they stand. They want predictability. They want consistency. The more consistent you are in your expectations, in your consequences, how you're incentivizing, and ultimately how you're bringing that praise in, the more your kids will respond, the more they'll want to do things because of what they're getting from it. There becomes an inherent value in following directions. They get the love, they get the limits, they get the consequences, they get the things that they like to do the most. All of those things wrap up into consistency. The more consistent you are in how you approach, the more consistent your kids will be in what they do to meet the expectations you set. If you liked what you just saw and you would like more information about how you can implement these top 5 things into your life right now, please check out this and additional videos on my website, www.christaylormft.com.